Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name's Elizabeth, and today we're going to be talking about some money saving tips and habits for families who want to be better with their money and to have more money for their family and for their life. So let's go ahead and talk about those things. All right, so the first thing is to get aware. Have a family meeting and discuss your finances. Feel free to include your children. It's just a part of the game. And I don't want to stress them out, but this can actually be helpful and it can help them learn some valuable skills and tools in their life. And so create a budget, see where you're at. How much money is coming in? How much money are you spending? Do you need to cut back a little bit? Is there a place where you can stop spending that much money? Or you're like, ooh, I could cancel this subscription or I could get rid of this. Why are we spending this? Oh, we actually have this amount of money. We actually have more to do here. And so just take a look at it. Some people are so scared to see their situation, but you have to rip off the Band-Aid and actually see what the heck's going on in order to make a change, to make more money or to save more money and to be able to manage your money. This is a good skill, and start going over that with your kids and start creating a budget. All right, number 2. So a big area of interest and concern for families is where you're spending on your food and on your grocery bills. So typically this could be a huge expense for families. In May 2021, the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, estimated that the average family of 4 with 2 kids under age 5 spent between $599 and $1,169 per month on food at home. And families with 2 kids between the ages of 6 and 11 spent between $687.40 and $1,370.10 per month on food at home. So did those numbers look big to you? Did they look small? Are you spending way more, way less, whatever? Let me know in the comments below. But this is important because we spend so much money on food. I know this is a big expense for my family. And one thing is we try to eat healthy. We try to feel our best. Also, we had a period where they like to eat out more, and people in my family, my husband and stuff. And so we had to cut back on some of those things, and it really can make a huge difference. And so a couple of tips. One thing is you could do online shopping. And so you can go ahead and say, hey, this is how much money we have. This is what we need. You can plan your meals. This is what we're going to buy. Then you can see, oh, this is $50. Okay, I can afford that. Or, oh my gosh, that's going to be $200. Let's take out a few things. So it can help you be more intentional. In a lot of places like Walmart, you can then just go drive and it's free and you can just pick up your groceries and you already had that done and we're specific and you have a certain amount of money. The other thing is you can make a shopping list, which is similar, and try to stick to it. It is challenging, especially if you're taking your kids to the store. They might want something, or maybe you are like, ooh, I want some raspberries. Ooh, I want this, which is fine overall. But if you're trying to stick with a budget, it can make things a little bit more complicated. You can use a cashback app. A lot of people do that. The receipt scanning apps. You could start a meal plan. And so maybe instead of going to all these little food runs, you can go, this is what we're having throughout the week. We need sandwiches for this day. We need this for one day. You can streamline too and just go, hey, we're just going to have sandwiches for lunch. Or, hey, this is what is going to be our meal. Like we just do oatmeal for breakfast. And so it's not super expensive to just get a big thing of oatmeal. We do get some fruit, or bananas can be helpful, and then just go from there. So instead of getting all these different types of food, that could be more money. And so have more of a specific staple can really help as well. Avoid grocery shopping when you're hungry or stressed. It will help you avoid making impulse purchases, etc. Try a pantry challenge so you can actually go ahead and see what's already in your pantry and then use that, or build meals around that. Because a lot of times we actually have a lot of food at home. We might not want to eat it, but it's there and it's food that you've already spent money on. And lastly, reducing waste. So a 2020 study published in the Nutrition Journal found that the average American spends $1,300 on food wasted every single year. So the food is wasted. And so just be mindful and try to freeze things if you can, or don't cook as much, or eat leftovers. So there's a lot of things to do. I hope this one was helpful, but food can be a big thing for people. It's important. We all need it, but do we need to spend as much? Or do you want to spend more money on food and then cut in other areas? You have to decide that for yourself and your family. Number 3 is to don't pay full price for things. So a lot of times things will come on sale. You can also look at the Capital One shopping app and it can compare things, but you don't have to just spend the money on the actual price. Look for sales, identify what you want to buy, and then go see if there's going to be a sale, see if you can find a cheaper option of it. Number 4, the beautiful subscriptions. So be careful with subscriptions. So Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO, Spotify, Audible, all of these things, it's easy to get a ton of subscriptions, and maybe you can share. Maybe one friend or a family member, like an extended family member, pays for it, and then you pay for this when you guys share accounts. That's a strategy if you want to keep all of those accounts. Or like I said, you can buy these accounts and just cut back in maybe other areas of your budget or where you spend. But typically 2 subscriptions, 3 subscriptions probably won't break the bank, but they start adding up over time. And you might be like, oh, it's just this little bit. Oh, it's just this little bit. But all these little bits add up. So just be careful with that. Number 5, negotiate with your service provider. So you probably have a TV or cell phones or things, but you can negotiate. You can see if you can switch providers to save money. That's something that we're doing with our cell phone currently. I know my friend let me know about Mint Mobile and the options there, and it was an amazing deal, great prices, because I was talking about, are there teacher discounts? And Verizon has a teacher discount, but Mint Mobile's price was actually still better than the teacher discount. So just look, see what's out there instead of saying, oh, this is just how much we have to pay. Do the research to see. And then also, if you're paying for unlimited data, like on your cell phone, check your monthly statements and see how much data are you actually using. Do you need the full amount? And so just take some of these things into consideration and figure out what you actually need, and just be aware and mindful of the options out there, right? These businesses are competing. They're businesses, and there's not just one of them. It's not a monopoly, so you can shop around. Number 6 is to try to conserve energy. So what you want to do is turn off the water when you're not using it. Really ensure, especially if you have kids, try to train them and to say, hey, this is something that we're doing in our house. It will help us save money. It's helping the environment, and it's just a good practice to do as a person. So turn off the water, switch off your lights, and your devices as well. Adjust the thermostat. These are all things that you can do. You can get a smart thermostat. You can turn off the lights in the televisions when they're not in use. These are just really good practices to help you cut back and save every single month. Next, you can just buy secondhand. So I know we do this all the time. We see maybe someone gives us for free some of their baby's old clothes, or we go to Salvation Army, or we go shop online at a different thrift store that's online. So check those options out. You don't need to have the brand new stuff, especially kids who are going to be growing out of things quickly. You can go ahead and look at thrift stores or hand-me-downs or secondhand things. There's no shame in that. And honestly, it's a really, really helpful and money-saving tip. I wanted to speak a little more on this. This can even be more than just clothes. So I know my mom is really great at this and has found amazing deals at Goodwill and things. And it's super awesome. She gets these really nice things that people have just decided that they don't need anymore. Maybe they have other stuff. And honestly, you wouldn't be able to tell. And when your kids play with stuff, sometimes they start getting used as well. But there's some really great things that she's gotten for like $5 that would have costed hundreds of dollars. And so really don't be afraid to check this out. It really can be worth the time, especially if you go find a good Goodwill or a good Salvation Army, or you're willing to find hits and misses. It can be really, really helpful. Another tip is to hold a swap. So maybe you have a bunch of families in your area, and every kid's at a different stage of their life, and you just say, like, hey, let's have a clothes swap. And so you all bring different clothes and you swap, or you just do this and hey, this is a neighbor and they have a boy that's younger than my boy. So when my boy outgrows this, I'm going to pass that down to him. Or it could be anything. It doesn't have to be clothes. It could be toys or school supplies or whatever. But swap, trade around. This can be helpful. Another option is to get stuff for free. So maybe you don't have someone that you know that you could trade with, but go on Facebook Marketplace, go reach out to your community, see if there's some free things or things that people are getting rid of, or even just walking around the neighborhood. Some people might put something out on the side of the street and say, hey, this is for free. I know I've gotten a few things by doing that sometimes. So just look. Sometimes people are just ready to get rid of the stuff and they don't need to make the buck on it or don't want to. They just want to get rid of it. And so see if you can find anything good that way. Another thing you can do is get deals on gifts, or you can start making a budget for certain events like birthdays or Christmas or things instead of just pulling the money out of the budget. After Christmas, you can maybe go see what toys or things that they have, and there's really great deals, and maybe you could buy a few toys for birthday parties throughout the year or for certain things. It also, in my opinion, might be worth waiting and just buying the thing that they want at the time, because maybe they will want something different. But you could just use this as a tool and also be intentional with saving throughout the year. Have one bank account, a high yield savings account for like the holidays, and then you have that money and you've been putting like $25 every single month, and then you have money to spend for the holidays instead of like, oh, I got to work a lot of overtime, or oh my gosh, how am I gonna pay for a couple of presents for people? So this could be a helpful tip. For parties or celebrations, how much do you really need to spend? Do you need to make it this huge thing? Do you need to buy the big balloon arch? If you want to, great. So like I said, spend on things that you actually want to. Like I know for our family, I'd rather spend more money on fresh fruit and different things like that and making green juices and smoothies. And so it's not that expensive, but especially compared to like certain meats and things. But overall, that's where we choose to spend our money. And so I'm like, I don't really care about something fancy for a party. Let's go ahead and do a fun activity with our family or some friends. And that's more what I care about. And so find that for you and see what do you actually want to spend money on instead of what society tells you, oh, you need to do this. And so you don't need to do anything except be a good person and take care of your kids and be a loving person. Otherwise, like, it's up to you on what you choose to do or not do. Take advantage of the free stuff around the community. So there's hiking trails. You can go to libraries that have so many programs. I know my family does this. We go to all sorts of things. We went to like a pajama story time the other night, and my mom and my mother-in-law will sometimes take my son to the story times. There's crafts. We had a STEM activity for my stepson and that he got to go to, or different, if you live near a national park or something, there's so many different opportunities, or they had a night under the stars. You could create your own free things and camp out in the backyard. Definitely check out the options that are in your community or in your surrounding communities. You'd be surprised. And it's a great opportunity to do something free, but to do something different and to have your kids interact with other people. I kind of just talked about this, but go to your library. Seriously, even with books, it's really helpful. There are books that you might want to just have at your house, but you can get hundreds of thousands of books and just thousands and thousands and just get them. They also have great resources at our library. It's super awesome. They even have like puzzles, and they have a computer and programs like ABC Mouse and things that you would normally have to pay for. And of course you can pay for it, but the resources are already right there. And so definitely take advantage of them and check them out. They want you to use them. They're there for a reason. Vacations can be expensive, and honestly, depending on the season of life you're in, maybe it's not a priority for you or something you want to do. I know for me, I do like traveling and such, but I really just like what we're doing in our lives right now. I like being home. I like being with my family. I like working on some of the projects that we're working on. That feels like fun to me, and a vacation. And so making it a staycation. So staying at home, doing things that are local around here, or what can you do as a family, as long as you're spending that time together. I do think there's a lot of value in experiences. And I know I was very fortunate to get to travel a ton when I grew up, and have been all over the world and all over the United States. And I think that really helped me and expanded my mind and point of view. But be mindful of that, and maybe this year just don't go on a vacation, or go on a vacation that costs a little bit less. Be careful on how much you spend on a house. So this can be a really big thing, and this is a big topic right now, but typically it's recommended not to spend more than 30% of your gross annual income on your house payments, and with taxes and all of that combined. And so a lot of people are pushing 50% or more, and you really don't want to put all of your money into a house. So it can be an asset, but honestly, typically the place that you live in is not really a true asset. It's an asset because it's the only asset that a lot of people have, but just be really, really mindful with that. And lastly, you can sign up for a rewards credit card. So I did a video on how to improve your credit score, how to get a good credit score, how to be careful with your credit. And so I'm not the biggest fan of credit cards, but I think if you are very responsible and you're looking for another way to have more options and maybe get free travel points so that you can get a free vacation, etc., there are different options out there. Chase has some. I could put more information or do a video on this if you're interested. The unfortunate part about this is typically where you get the rewards from is from people who aren't making their payments on time, and that they have to pay a ton of money to the credit card companies, and so that's how they have the money. So that's kind of a hard thing, and that's one thing I'm like, should I contribute to a system like that? But I am considering it for the future, for being able to pretty much fly for free and have those opportunities. All right, so those were some tips for some families on how to save more money and how to use your money wisely. Honestly, it's totally up to you. You have to determine what you value and what you want for your family. Do you want more time? Do you want to spend more money on health or for sporting activities for your kids? Do you want to have those trips and adventures? Do you want the little everyday luxuries and things and subscriptions around the house? So figure out what you want for your family. Figure out where you could cut back, or ways that you can get things for free, or just get things for a reduced cost. And then you can also look into potentially making more money or investing in assets and things like that along the way. But I hope this video was helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Were any of these tips helpful? What did you take away? Or do you have any tips for anybody else? Definitely let me know. And feel free to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and share it with a friend if you think that they might like it as well. Thank you so much for being here. You got this. Keep working on your journey. Keep learning, growing, and becoming a better version of yourself. I know you can do this, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.